Alright, so this week Nissan USA has sent me the all-new 2019 Nissan Maxima Platinum. And the Maxima in recent years has been Nissan's flagship sedan. And Nissan also touts it as their four-door sports car. And I don't think people actually give this enough credit when it comes to its sports car-like feel. And you guys may not agree with me, but I promise after you watch the driving part of this review, you're really gonna second guess what Nissan was able to do with this all-new Maxima. Let's go ahead and check it out. All right, so looking on the outside of the 2019 Nissan Maxima Platinum. Now, first thing is this paint coat. It is this beautiful, beautiful red color, and it looks fantastic. It almost looks like a maroon, and it really does a great job of just highlighting, really how beautiful this sedan is. Even though this thing has been out for quite some time, it's still a very good looking sedan, and it really does remind me of higher end vehicles like Lexus, of course Infiniti, and then different brands like that. But it does a great job of keeping itself looking the part, especially when you consider the price tag on this thing, which is $45,225. Now that immediately probably put some of you back in your seats quite a bit, because that is a lot for a front wheel drive sedan basically. But like I said, once you guys see how this thing drives, you'll actually be extremely impressed, hopefully like I was. But coming to the front of the Maxima, you have your V-Motion style grille, and that's basically the design language that Nissan goes with. And so the V-Motion is going to consist of course, this V-shaped bar right there in the middle. It's going to be full chrome. You're going to have a chrome lip down here on the bottom. The lights look good. LEDs look fantastic during the day. So your daytime running lights are full LEDs. They look great. And then at night, this thing looks nice and crisp. No longer do you have any sort of projector beams. You have full 100% LEDs on here, and you have almost like that matrix style LED that like Honda went with. Even Audi had real earlier on, like a few years ago, they had that. But this really does have that real upscale look, and I think it looks fantastic at night. Of course, LED fog lights, as you guys saw there as well. And then as you come to the side, there's really not a ton right here. So for example, let me see if I can brighten this up just a bit. So you've got your, of course, fog light there. You've got this black surround right there. You're gonna have more black surrounds here, a little bit of like a honeycomb style grille, and then just big openings to feed your radiator for the large V6 that sits underneath the hood of this thing. Then once you come up to the hood, you guys can see this area, hopefully you can see it, where this line's gonna go right up there, just like that. It almost forms like almost like an hourglass sort of shape, but it does look good. It gives the design of the hood a very unique look, because I've never seen that on any other vehicle, to be honest. And then you have the line that goes right there, and it just does a great job of making the car look the part when it comes to looking aggressive and things like that. Then moving to the side, you do have this character line, which is basically what the Maxima is known for. You see this big line that flows all the way down right there. It's going to sort of dissipate right here, and then this line's going to start and flow all the way down the side of the car. It looks great. Then coming to the wheels, you have these wheels here, which are going to be a decent size. They're 19-inch wheels. You've got this updated design right here. They're wrapped in Goodyear Eagle Touring tires. And if you guys want to know the size of these are 245/40s right here. And so, decent tire. The Goodyears actually grip pretty well. It was raining this week, and even through that rain, this did a great job of just keeping itself composed on those wet roads. That is a pretty good thing. Then as you come back a little bit, you guys can see that floating roof design, which Nissan always does a great job with. So you are going to have the blacked out pillar here, going to have a blacked out pillar right here, and then you've got more of that red area coming all along the top right there, and you got some chrome accenting the bottom of it as well, chrome door handles. Then as you move to the back of the car, that's where you can really see that floating roof design, and I think that looks really good. Now, new for this year model, you do have these slightly smoked out tail lamps right here. So if I get a little bit closer, you guys You can see they're smoked out right there, and man, they look great. They really, really do. Obviously at night they look fantastic because they are full LEDs. Even your turn signals on here are going to be full LEDs, front, rear, and on the side mirrors as well. So that is a great thing to see. Now, being the Platinum trim, once again, you do have a little spoiler right here, your Platinum badge right there. And then you have these like quad exhaust tips here, which are not going to be true quad exhaust. You have one exhaust down in there, hopefully if you guys can see that. So there's your one exhaust, and then you just have the quad tips right there. But they're not connected, they're just like faux quad tips. But this car sounds incredible. So let me start it up and let you guys take a listen. All right, so here is the key for the Nissan Maxima. If it looks familiar, that's because literally every Nissan and Infiniti have this same key since like 2008. You've got the Nissan symbol up here, remote start, lock, unlock, trunk release, and then your panic there at the bottom, and then a little release here to release your physical key so you can get into the vehicle if the battery dies or if the battery on the car were to die. Now, you guys can vote up in the top right-hand corner, actually. I think it's definitely time for Nissan to update this key. I'm not one for progress just for the sake of progress, but this is definitely a case of that. So, anyways, you can use the key to get in, or you can use the buttons here on the door. You push that. 2 beeps is going to mean that it's locked, and then 1 beep is going to mean it's unlocked. All right, guys, so coming to the interior of the Nissan Maxima, you have what Nissan calls the Rakuta Tan semi-aniline leather appointed diamond quilted interior, and I kid you not, that is exactly what it says on the window sticker. It is a mouthful, but it's hard to deny that this is a beautiful interior with incredible material quality. So starting with this Rakuta Tan leather right here, you are going to have really supple leather feel, and I'm not sure if you guys can tell in video, but it has this really nice like look to it. It's almost like it doesn't have an even tone to it. It has a little bit of darker areas within the leather, and it really makes it stand out and look just absolutely beautiful. Contrast stitching coming all the way down here. Now here's where it gets a little bit older. You do have your older like Nissan style buttons. These don't even have anything on them, nor do they light up. These two will light up. Then you've got, you know, some hard black plastic with these little chrome pieces here. You're also gonna have your window locks, door locks, mirror controls right there. Black leather here with that Rakuta Tan stitching coming across there. Then as you move up, you're gonna have more leather here on top, and that is also soft touch material. You guys can see right there as well. Really good quality stuff. Memory seats, 2 settings, and you have this interesting sort of X-shaped pattern that's going to go all the way down here. Now this isn't going to be metal, it's just plastic, but they do a good job once again of making it look nice. And you have this chrome door handle with this gloss black going around that as well. Bose tweeter right there for your Bose sound system, as well as your blind spot monitor right there. As you come down, you are going to have your Nissan brushed aluminum kick plate here with this nice little accent right there. It is going to illuminate at night. Looks fantastic, of course. Your Maxima branded floor mats, which, once again, interesting to see that Infiniti did this with my last review with the QX80, but this is pure metal, so the fact that you're going to put your feet on that is pretty crazy, but it's nice nonetheless. You do have a thigh extension right here that you can adjust manually. All of your seat controls here off to the side, and once again, extremely just supple leather feel. Quilted stitching coming right here in the middle with perforations. Looks fantastic. But let's go ahead, hop inside, and we'll check out the rest of the car. All right, so what do you guys say we shut the door on the Nissan Maxima? Pretty solid shut. Heard a rattle come from somewhere. Couldn't really figure out where it is. Almost sounded like it was above my head, which is kind of random. So quick look on the inside before I start it up. Start button's gonna be right there, foot on the brake. Nice. And this really has a fantastic startup sound. It's really, really good. It's really hard to beat that Nissan V6 sound. It's fantastic. All right, starting with the steering wheel on the Nissan Maxima. Now, you have that Rakuta tan leather coming right here, but this time it is going to be perforated, as you guys can see right there. Looks fantastic. On the left side, you are going to have your buttons for your volume, media, sources, and then you have this button to control everything in this screen here, and I'll get to that in just a second. Nissan badge here, and you've got that sort of V motion, like signature coming through the steering wheel design as well. And over here to the right, all of your cruise control, because this does have adaptive cruise. Turn it on right there. You can set your distance there, set, voice commands, and then your phone commands right there as well. Now, one thing you guys will notice, this does not have paddle shifters. I will talk about that a little bit later. I actually think that was a good idea on Nissan's part, and I'll tell you why in the driving portion of the video. But you are going to have automatic wipers, automatic lights over here with your fog lights located right there. Sorry, I keep hitting the camera. And then coming to this screen here in the middle. So right now you guys can obviously tell we have low fuel, but I wish it had more of a digital gauge look. It's very old school in the way that it feels, but Nissan and Infiniti right now are really hanging on to that slightly old school vibe. So if you do like that and you're not a big fan of all the hardcore technology upgrades that everyone's been making, maybe Nissan is still the brand for you, especially if you don't like being overwhelmed whenever you get a new car. This is a decent way to go, I feel like. But pretty classic needle gauges. Ooh, sounds so good. And then you have your speedometer over here to the right, fuel, and then like I said, right here in the middle, you can control all sorts of things. So I can go through, see all of my like average fuel economy, things like that. And it's pretty cool. You know, very simplistic, nothing too crazy about it. All your settings, and you can just really see whatever you want to consistently see here in the middle, and then your time, speed, and that's about it. You don't have a heads-up display or anything. I do wish this had a heads-up display, but the cool thing is, not sure if you guys can see this, but you actually have a real cool view out of the front of the hood. You've got this one that kind of goes down here. You've got that kind of bulge thing I showed you guys earlier, and then you have this over here. So just sitting behind the driver's seat, it really almost looks like you're in a sports car. I mean, it feels very sporty from behind the wheel, and the seating position in here is fantastic. Now coming down here, you are going to have a little bit more buttons here, so hopefully you guys can see this. Let me brighten it up just a bit. You're going to have your trunk release, all of your Nissan like Pilot 360 safety systems, your heated steering wheel, and then you're going to have this for your sunscreen shade there in the back. So if I push that, you guys can see it going down right there. Let me push it again. And there you go. Coming up, you have your interior illumination right here, your trip reset right next to that. You're gonna have more of your vents here. You're gonna have some soft touch plastic right here, some leather here with that Rakuta tan stitching coming along there as well. Really, really supple and soft. Speaker back there for your Bose sound system. Speaker in the middle for your Bose sound system. More soft touch, not really leather, but soft plastic with the molded stitching right here. More of that molded stitching coming over there, and the entire dash is going to be soft touch and pretty good quality. Now, once you get to this infotainment system, looks very, very old. You know, for a $45,000 car, this should have a bigger touchscreen and just more up-to-date looking things. But once again, like I said, some people actually enjoy paying for that older look because, you know, companies move on. They don't stay with the same design, and people that fell in love with this design and they don't want to see it go anywhere, maybe snatching up something like this is an opportunity they probably won't get back again. Now, if you get a little bit closer, it is a decent touchscreen. Now you can control it multiple ways. Obviously, it is touchscreen, like I mentioned to you guys earlier. And then you can use this little dial down here to scroll left and right, and that will control everything on there. Your correlating buttons here off to the side, tune knob, volume knob, which is always good to have. You actually have a camera button. You can click right there to pull up your camera, 360-degree camera, backup camera. 360-degree camera is okay. You can really see where they crop in all the images, so Nissan does not try to hide that at all. And then you've got a slightly grainy backup camera right there. And of course that will do the same thing if you throw this into reverse. So you guys can see there. Dual zone climate control, all of your fan speeds there. Of course your start button right there. You have a little area right over here. And it's a good sized area. You have a USB and a USB-C in there, as well as an auxiliary. You guys can see that. And this entire area is lined in felt. It's pretty dark in there, but you have a little area you can slide your phone in right there. So hopefully you guys can see that. I'm not sure if you can or not, but it's right there. And then you have your cup holders here. You're going to have this really soft leather that's gonna come all the way right here, and you can rest your knees along this area, which is nice. Leather wrapped shifter right here with that, Rakuta tan stitching, some piano black silver accents around that. Solid shifter feel, feels really nice. And you don't have paddles, but you can throw it into a manual mode, which I would just never suggest doing unless you absolutely have to for whatever reason. Heated and cooled seats. Heated's gonna be all the way to the right, cooled all the way to the left. Meet in the middle to turn it off. Sport mode, traction control button right there. Of course, you can press this to select any of your options. Your menu, back right there, and then you have your map right here, which I wouldn't suggest using. I would just use Apple CarPlay if you have it, just because the maps on there are a lot better than the ones provided to you by Nissan. Then you come to the armrest. This armrest is the softest thing I've ever put my elbow on. Look at this. That is insanely soft. I mean, it just sinks right in. It is pretty crazy. But you lift that up, decent amount of storage space. You have a 12-volt right down there. Lockable glove box right here. Lined in felt, so not gonna make any noise. You're not gonna hear that. Then you have your auto dimming mirror with your home link right there for your garage. Sunglass holder. LED lights right here, so hopefully you guys can see that. And you're going to have this dual pane, like panoramic roof, which looks fantastic. And the day it rained, I opened it up, and it's just a really cool look having a pano roof. It looks fantastic. Open this up, and you have non-LED, but you at least have a light there. And then of course your vanity mirror right there. It's pretty much gonna be it for the front seat. Let's go ahead and hop in the back, and we will check out the room. All right, so sitting in the back of the Nissan Maxima, here's one thing I did not expect. I thought I would have a ton more headroom, and I mean, I'm sitting pretty slouched right now, and I feel like I still have to put my head down just a bit. If I put my head fully up, I'm 6 feet tall, behind myself. My head is fully pressed into the headrest. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've never had this issue really in this size of car. I've been in like the Mazda 6, I've been in the Accord, I've been in the Camry, I've been in the Avalon, I've been in every other vehicle that competes essentially with this, and I've never had that issue with headroom. Now here I'm fine because of the moonroof, but as soon as I move back here, it's really, really low. Very surprised by that Nissan, because I can fit in every other mid-size to full-size sedan, so that is basically unacceptable, if that makes sense for you guys. Now you do have that same beautiful Rakuta leather back here. It looks fantastic though. You do have 2 mat pockets behind each seat, heated seats. You have a USB and a USB-C back here, of course 2 vents. Feet room is great. My knee room is decent. I have about 3.5 inches of knee room. So that's pretty good, and like I said, my feet can slide underneath easily. You can essentially fit a middle person here because the hump isn't too big, but you just got to make sure they're well under 6 feet because there's just no headroom back here. It's pretty crazy. You fold down the armrest, you have a nice soft area for your elbow there, 2 cup holders and a little storage area here. It's pretty much going to be it. You do have handles right here, and then because of that glass roof, you have a great view out of the front, but it's not that great when your head is consistently pressed up against the ceiling. So like I said, very surprised by that, was not expecting that. So let's go ahead and move on to the trunk. All right, so coming to the trunk of the Nissan Maxima, now getting in is very easy. You actually have a button located right here underneath the Nissan symbol. That's gonna let you into the vehicle. Of course, you can use your key as well. But looking back here, first of all, you have a very wide area, so putting things in here shouldn't be an issue because of that very wide opening. And it's cavernous back here. It's absolutely huge. You guys can see the cubic feet here on the screen. And you of course have tethers here to pull, to fold down the rear seats, so you can also put more things back here if you so choose. And then you also have this accessory option, which is a little net, and you can put like maybe cans of Pringles, milk, anything you want to put in here to make sure it's not flying around and making a bunch of noise back here in the trunk. So you do have that option. Of course, you do have a spare underneath here. It's not going to be a full-size spare, so it's not going to be a 19-inch wheel like the one you have here in the car. It's going to be a 17-inch wheel, but you have a spare nonetheless, and a lot of people are actually going away from that. And then you have a little first aid Nissan kit right here in the back, so y'all can see that right there. Pretty helpful. But that's pretty much going to be it for the trunk space. Let's go ahead and see what's under the hood of this thing. All right, so coming under the hood of the Nissan Maxima, you can have a 3.5 liter dual overhead cam 24 valve V6. Now, if all that sounds pretty familiar, it's basically the engine out of a 350Z. So that means you're gonna have 300 horsepower, 276 pound-feet of torque coming from this engine. Now, it is mated to a CVT. Now, usually that's the part where I groan and just get upset, because this is supposed to be touted as Nissan's four-door sports car. And in my personal opinion, you can't have a four-door sports car of any kind with a CVT. But after driving this for a few days, I can honestly tell you I'm extremely surprised at what Nissan was able to deliver with this package. And I think that after you guys see me drive it in just a second, you're gonna be extremely impressed with what they have done with this CVT. And it is possibly one of the only CVT cars I would ever truly consider buying. Best benefit, because of that CVT, you get up to 30 miles per gallon on the highway, which is insane for a naturally aspirated V6 and a vehicle of this size. You guys can see the true fuel economy figures here on the screen. But yeah, of course it is front wheel drive. Being a Maxima, they've always known for being front wheel drive. Really wish they would offer all wheel drive. I think it would really push the Maxima into that slightly sportier category, even if it did have the CVT. But let's go ahead and get this on the road and I'll show you how it drives. All right, you guys, so driving the Nissan Maxima Platinum. Now, the first thing I was genuinely surprised by with this vehicle is how well it handles. For this big of a front wheel drive car, this handles a little bit better in my opinion than the Avalon Touring. And I just think it handles so well. I mean, it really does, at least from the front seat, you know, not consistently thinking about the fact that this is front wheel drive, it consistently handles like a sporty four-door. It really does. And right now we're just in normal mode and it's got a decent amount of steering wheel feedback. It almost feels hydraulic in the way that the steering feels. It's super accurate, very precise. You've got tons of feedback coming through the wheel. I mean, you just feel like little just vibrations coming through the wheel, and it feels great. Now, you do have a sport mode, and you throw it into sport mode, it really just makes that steering better. It never makes it overly heavy. It's just the perfect amount of resistance, at least in my opinion. And it's not overly done. It's still everyday drivable. You don't ever have to feel like you're just putting in a ton of effort to turn the wheel, though some people may enjoy that. It rides very well. And it's a good mix of being sporty and compliant. So right now on this back road that I take all the time, it rides well. It's not beating you up. It's fairly quiet in here. It's actually really quiet in this vehicle. And it's just very composed. It feels, at least the ride quality feels exactly around the $45,000 price point, if you guys know what I'm saying. There's not a lot of cars where it drives where the drive feels as expensive as it truly is. But taking around this corner, so hopefully I can show you guys, handles really well. Tires do start to give up a little bit when you start to push it a little hard, but these Goodyear Tourings are just, you know, they're adequate tires for gripping, at least when you're pushing the car like that. Like I said, in the rain and stuff, it did a fantastic job. And yeah, they're just good all seasons, or decent all seasons. You know, most people are not going to push this car that hard anyways, but just to know it handles corners like that decently well is great. Now let's get into the big thing you guys are curious about, and that's this CVT. So I mentioned earlier, I'm actually happy Nissan didn't put paddle shifters on here, because I've seen a lot of CVTs that have paddle shifters, and it's just, there's no point. It's a CVT, you know that it doesn't have real gears to shift. I mean, maybe it's fun to still pretend, I guess, but if I'm gonna pretend drive a car, I can just go play a video game. So the other thing is that, you know, I just appreciate that they said, you know what, it's a CVT and we're gonna treat it like a CVT. It's gonna work like a CVT does, but do it well. And I seriously appreciate that. They're not trying to hide anything. This is a CVT that they say will make this car feel extremely sport oriented, and they are correct. Trust me guys, they are correct in this. So let's think real quick about how a CVT works, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about. So those of you who are not familiar, just speaking to those of you who are not familiar, CVTs, almost think of it as like a rubber band. So as you climb in RPMs, there's this thing that sort of stretches out. And the benefit to it, especially with a naturally aspirated engine like this that makes its peak horsepower closest to RPM, to redline, sorry, all over the place in my speech. So this makes its peak horsepower close to redline. So why does a CVT benefit that? Well, it's gonna hold you close, as close as possible to redline when you floor this thing, which means you have almost, I'd say 280 to all 300 of your horsepower almost all the time when you're flooring it. So right now I am, you know, just to be honest with you guys, I'm going 40 right now. I floor it one good time and that's 60. It's so quick. It is so ridiculously like fast the way it does that, and it's super impressive. And like I said, you hold it there and it just climbs at a very rapid pace. When you're on the highway and you really stab at this throttle, man, you're gonna get up to whatever speed you're trying to pass someone at, and then beyond that, because this CVT really takes advantage of the power that this thing has to offer. And I drove this on about a 50-mile trip and I got like 31 miles a gallon without using cruise control, guys. That was not cruise control. If I cruise controlled this thing, I'm talking I could easily get this in like 33 to 34 miles a gallon on the highway. That is crazy for this engine. That is just insane. So once again, get on it. This thing just books. It is so fast. It's legitimately fast. Like, there are cars when you tell yourself this is quick. No, this is really like, it's a fast car. So from a stop, because it is front wheel drive, it's not that impressive. If you're gentle with the throttle, you can get a good acceleration. So let's try and see how quickly we can get up to 60. Decent start. And 60. I mean, it's not bad, it's not terrible. I'm gonna try it one more time just to see what we can do here. All right, it's coming to a complete stop. Brake torque it just a bit. Ooh, that was good. And 60, not bad. It's not bad, it really is pretty quick. But like I said, the real magic happens when you're already rolling and you just lay into this thing, because it will just throw itself way up there in the RPMs. It's pretty crazy. Handling is great. And it's a genuinely great car to drive. I'm so impressed by this thing. Out of all the sedans, between like the Camry XSE, the Avalon Touring, this is probably my favorite to drive. It's just really good, and it has a CVT. That's the crazy part. I never truly thought I would enjoy a car that has a CVT, but there's no denying when you get behind the wheel of this thing that once you experience the CVT really doing its thing, it just really takes advantage of the power that this Maxima has to offer. It's very impressive. And of course, it's appointed very well because it's the Platinum trim. Visibility is great. You have adaptive cruise, you've got blind spot, decent view out of the back, large windshield. You have this nice sporty seating position, which feels great. You're really low in the car. and I think Nissan really did a great job. And though it is front wheel drive, I think that the Maxima in terms of a driving perspective is a lot better than a lot of people give it credit for. Is it worth the $45,000? Not quite sold on that, but there's no denying, like I said, it is a fantastic vehicle to drive. But I hope this review helped you guys. If it did, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe for more car content, and I will see you guys next review. Also, don't forget to check out my merchandise below this video. It will really help support the channel and get yourself a Forrest Auto Review shirt. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on next review. Bye.
Back,